Hello everybody and welcome back to the America's Winter Championships. As we mentioned before the break, both players requested just a little bit of a breather, which is understandable considering how insane the first four games of this series have been. We're tied at 2-2 in this massive semi-final at the moment. And it's understandable that both players want a moment just to compose their thoughts, considering how much of a massive game this is for both players. Puffin, of course, is coming off the back of his victory in the Innkeepers Showdown tournament. But he's still waiting for his big breakout performance, and going all the way in this tournament could definitely cement his position as a top player in 2016. Zenstyle, on the other hand, very different situation. 2015 was a huge year for him. He had a number of big tournament wins, really cemented himself as one of the best players of 2015. 2016 not been so successful for him, so going deep in this tournament with its stacked lineup is definitely a huge step back to what we know him as for him, and he'll be looking to continue that momentum, and really, really important, as I said, for both of these players to take home this Game 5. So looking at the lineups, this last game is going to come down to Tempo Mage versus Oil Rogue, which is an interesting matchup, pretty 50-50. It's going to come down to whether the Mage can get enough pressure early, whether the Rogue picks up those important board clears, and most importantly, whether they can pick them up early enough, because often if they take too much damage, the Oil Rogue, even though they get that big ball clear with a Blade Flurry, they've taken too much damage early in the game, and they're just in range of something like Fireball for the entire game. So, just getting a message now. The players are ready to go, so the mulligans are ready. So it looks like we can now just get into the game. And looking at the opening hands here, Zenstyle really, really going to be happy to see that Mana Worm in his hand, although Puffin does pick up an SI Agent and has a prep to go with it as well, so it could be a huge tempo swing for him there on turn 3. But a second Mana Worm comes into the hand for Zenstyle, so we'll see how aggressive he wants to be with his opening here. There's a lot of ways to play this. Looks like he's just going to slow play it here with the single Mana Worm. Double Mana Worm, definitely an option there, gives you more of a consolidated presence against something like a backstab from your opponent, but luckily, no backstab from Puffin, but he does have emotes on his side, even if he doesn't have the backstab. Both players still having a little bit of fun, regardless of how important this game is. Sorcerer's Apprentice coming to the hand, so this hand is coming together really nicely for Zenstyle here. He has the option to play the Apprentice, and he can even play a 0 mana spell, or he can coin out the second Mana Worm, play Arcane Missiles if he wants to go for maximum pressure. If his opponent has Deadly Poison Blade Flurry, it would pretty much be the end of the game right there, but he's going to choose to go for a more conservative line, keep his coin for more value later, and this is going to allow Puffin to swing the board here. Very quickly spots the preparation play that I alluded to at the start of the game, preps the Eviscerate to take care of the Mana Worm, and this is exactly the kind of full swing that Rogue is looking for in this matchup. You really, really want to leverage your cards like Prep, like Backstab to really cement your position on the board, swing the tempo, make the Mage have to have the answers instead of asking the questions. Luckily for Zenstyle, he does have sufficient answers, does have to use up a lot of resources, but he reconsolidates his position with the Mana Worm on the board, so looks like a reasonable decision to hold back some of his resources there. Puffin looks like he's considering a raw Tinker Oil here, which never feels great as a rogue player, but sometimes it's one of those necessary evils. Much like as a druid player, sometimes you just have to savage raw to clear a minion like a knife juggler, despite it being your primary win condition. Sometimes just not falling too far behind on the board is more important, but he's definitely considering the implications of throwing away his oil here, especially with that Blade Flurry in his hand. He is going to still retain the second charge though if he wants to use the Flurry for a clear later, but just takes care of the Mana Worm, and what he's hoping here is that Zenstyle does not have a proactive follow-up like a Piloted Shredder in his hand, and his decision's going to pay out here because Zenstyle actually has nothing to do really in terms of proactive pressure. He's just forced to develop the mirror image, develop a mirror entity. It does make the Drake that Puffin wants to play this turn a little bit awkward, but the Sludge Belcher is a nice draw. It's a slightly less threatening minion to give to his opponent, and the two Sludge Belchers don't trade on the board as the Drakes would, so pretty important pickup. Antonidas comes into hand for Zenstyle, and his decision to keep that coin early on might just pay out here because that coin is now going to be able to be turned into a Fireball using the Antonidas. Passing back to Puffin, the Mirror Entity has cleared, so he is free to develop that Drake here, and there doesn't look like too many other fantastic turns. Does have the second charge of that dagger up if he wants to chop down the Sludge Belcher, but he may also consider saving it because of the Flurry. Just saw him mouse over the flurry there as if he was considering holding on to the second charge to try and flurry a full board away, but decides to just deal with what's in front of him this turn. Okay, here we go. Unstable Portal into Kel'Thuzad. Wow. That is a hugely explosive pickup of Portal. Of course, Unstable Portal, a very volatile card, very unstable card, if you'll excuse the pun, but Kel'Thuzad is at its best on a consolidated board of multiple minions, and just reviving these mirror images and slimes isn't going to get him very far. So he's going to look to want to pick up maybe Dr. Boom next turn would be fantastic. Could get some reviving Boombot action going. But for now, not a huge lot of value in that Kel'Thuzad, although as a 5-mana 6/8, it still can't exactly be described as terrible. Azure Drake might be a good enough pickup to convince him not to play the Kel'Thuzad this turn. See, the lower Theb from Puffin has locked him out of any Antonidas plays. So he is going to go ahead and play the Drake. So he's going to get a little bit greedy with his Kel'Thuzad here. A little bit hesitant to just play a slow vanilla 6/8 out onto the board, as it would essentially be, because he knows Rogue have access to things like Sap, which, even though you're playing the Kel'Thuzad for a discount, that's still a huge mana swing, huge tempo swing. He's able to sap your 5-mana card back to your hand where it will be returned to 8 mana. So Puffin looks like he's just going to go ahead and raw sprint here. Doesn't feel up under enough pressure to have to react to this board, and you can see he does have the Deadly Poison Blade Flurry in his hand to try and catch up on the board after he loses it. A Backstab will help him do that as well. Double Backstab, wow, okay. So Puffin's hand is now looking a lot better, and he's going to go ahead and spend the mana here on the Deadly Poison and clear out some of these minions. He's going to get a full clear, in fact, just trades the Drake. And he's left with a 5/5 facing down nothing. So this is the problem I kind of alluded to last turn, where the Kel'Thuzad, although Zenstyle is trying to get greedy with it and get some minions down on board first, it's going to be hard to do that because the Rogue is ahead on board with a lot of cards. So you kind of assume everything you play for a while is going to get backstabbed, it's going to get eviscerated, it's going to get sapped. So he does go ahead and just play out the 6/8 just to challenge the board. Unfortunately, he's going to be met with the sap from Puffin's hand. And on top of that, the Violet Teacher top deck is going to spiral this board a long way out of control here. And Puffin is starting to do what rogues do, and that is consolidate one minion into incremental advantages and just gain tempo advantage on every turn until they're just irreparably ahead on the board. Zenstyle is going to go for his Antonidas play here. Like I said, that coin that he decided not to play early, although he sacrificed a lot of early pressure, he has now turned it into a fireball. So he has 12 damage of reach in his hand, staring at a rogue at 19 health with no healing in hand. So although he's a long way behind on the board, this is certainly still a winnable game for him if he can just reach into his deck somewhere and pick out a little bit more damage. But Puffin is stacked with options here. He's actually probably not too far off lethal. With the Blood Mage, the Flurry, and the Eviscerate, that's 9 extra damage he can add to this board, which is already threatening 9. Smart usage of the Backstab there to pop the counterspell. No problem, buddy, I have a spare. So it looks like Backstab, and he could Flurry here if he wants to save the Eviscerate, be precise with his mana. He's going to choose here between the Flurry and the Abyss. Yeah, I think I like the Flurry here. Deals the exact damage, you keep the Abyss in your hand for more direct damage, and Zenstyle is going to have to find an answer here. He needs something like Flame Strike out of his deck if he's even playing it. It's no guarantee that he's playing it. Is he just going to go ahead and Eviscerate now for the damage? He is. He's going to Eviscerate now just so he gets the extra damage off the Blood Mage buff. And Zenstyle is going to have to go for some Flame Waker magic here. Should Fireball? Yes, he just caught himself there. You saw a little bit of misordering about to happen. Fireball down one of the big targets first before playing the mirror image, and that increases your chances of sniping down the 1/1s. And that's not too bad. He cleans up most of the board. He's feeling confident as well, despite clearly being behind in this game right now. He's feeling confident enough to throw out a few choice emotes to his opponent. We'll see how Dr. Boom makes him feel as it comes down and hits the board here. No answer to the Flame Waker, though. Is he going to prep for a 1/1 here? That'd be a really interesting play. He is. Wow. Does this let him clear? I don't think so, right? He only has 1/1 that can attack. Oh, of course, yes, he can re-dagger. Okay, very, very, very clever play from Puffin here. Didn't catch this one immediately, but because he didn't attack before the flurry, he could re-dagger, take out the second taunt, and he does in fact clear the Flame Waker. Ethereal Conjurer, interesting card in Tempo Mage. We saw Jab, of course, playing Grand Crusader for kind of a similar thing, which is to gain more resources without really losing tempo. Of course, the clue's in the name. This is Tempo Mage. You want to have tempo all the time. Oh! Oh my god, the Boombot's nearly finished the job, but he's just going to pass back to Puffin. Puffin is going to throw out the Healbot. Just maximum BM here. Trades away the Violet Teacher. Come on, Puffin, put him out of his misery. You've won. Happy Feast of Winterfell, indeed. It seals the game. The Boombot's off the Cone of Cold very nearly did the job for him, but no answer to the board from Zen Style. And it just all came down to that couple of turns with the preparation early to get ahead on the board with a 3-3 against nothing. And he was just able to spiral that position, basically. Got a very timely sprint to fill up his hand, and if Rogue gets control of the board like that with 1 or 2 minions and they have resources in their hand, it's tough for any deck to come back against them. 1 or 2 things that maybe Zen Style could have done differently. Maybe he was a little bit greedy with the Kel'Thuzad. He could have also gone for a lot more early pressure by using the coin double Mana Worm opening with Arcane Missiles as well. Could have pushed a ton of damage early on, but overall very well played by both players, and a hugely fitting semi-final for this tournament. As I said, crazy series all the way through, sealed out by an excellent Game 5 where Puffin was just that little bit better to take the series, and he will now advance to Grand Finals and is looking to follow up his big win in the Innkeeper's Showdown, like I said. Hard luck to Zen Style. Like I said, we know how much of a top player he is from the year that he had last year, but he's going to have to go back to the lab and figure out what's going wrong, why he's not quite following up those previous tournament performances. But we are going to go to a quick break, and we will be right back with the second semi-final to find out who meets Puffin in the final. Thank you for watching America's Winters Championship. We'll be right back.